certainly didn't feel like a gamble at the time. And I think if it had felt like a gamble, I would have been less likely to do it. But we were so cocksure of ourselves that we were going to make a go of it. We made the classic error of recruiting in our own image. At a later date, when we did a personality profiling course, we all discovered that over the years we'd all recruited in our own image, and the entire staff were in one side of the spectrum when it came to personalities, which was not a great idea for a business. Regrettably, we did hire ugly people from time to time, but it was definitely against company policy. As a general rule, my partner and I preferred to work with good-looking people, and particularly good-looking women. So if there were two people up for a role and one was fit and one wasn't, she got the job. And we found that clients like that as well, particularly male clients. But we certainly found that women in particular were much better at negotiating with male clients' egos, particularly if you had a difficult problem. Something has gone wrong, now we've got to go and eat some humble pie, try to smooth oil on troubled water. Women are much better at it than blokes. Langan's is one of many restaurants that we frequented, particularly as a team of directors. We used to make sure that we entertained ourselves royally, and we certainly came here for at least one Christmas lunch, which was separate from the Christmas lunch we had with the staff, and separate from the Christmas lunch that we had with the clients, and separate from a few other Christmas lunches that we undoubtedly had. Remember, the AGM is tax deductible for those of you out there, and you can go anywhere you like. China if you like, the taxman doesn't care. Take a week, take the directors. All you need is make sure that you've got some minutes of a meeting. We used to make sure we all had ours. Our meeting was at the airport hotel before we left, and we had them all the minutes written up. And there was one famous time we went to Madrid, and we had the meeting in the Holiday Inn, as it is now, at Heathrow. And after the meeting, which I had unaccountably finished with a shower cap on my head, I can't remember why, but we got to reception, and the receptionist, as we checked out, said, have you had anything out of the minibar? And we said, well, it might be easier to tell you what's left in it. Well, I'm a great believer in having fun. If you're not in business to have fun, what are you doing here? As some guru once put it, and I couldn't agree more. You know, it's not just about earning a big salary. What are you going to do with it? What's it all for? So yeah, hugely. Have fun if you can. We probably had too much in the early days, to be fair. Steve was actually probably not a bad accountant, but unfortunately, he got himself into a high-rolling set of jockeys, and as a result got a taste for betting. And we discovered 18 months later that Steve had been using our funds to pay for his betting habit. He'd been down to, well, he'd never been to William Hill, I don't think, because he never won as far as one could tell. But he'd got deeper and deeper in debt, and the more deep he got, the bigger the bets he was placing. And by the time, luckily, my old PA had gone to act as his assistant, and while he was on holiday in somewhere exotic, on our proceeds, no doubt, she was having a look through the books and found a lot of things that didn't reconcile. And by the time he came back, we realised that we were in the hole for at least 35 grand, and called in the fraud squad. About 4 years in, we definitely thought we might finally get our comeuppance, because we had 3 great years at the start. We grew, we were profitable. Even in year 1, we made a small profit. By the end of year 3, we were sitting on probably, I don't know, 150,000 quid in the bank. We hadn't taken it out, we'd left it in the business. And in year 4, we lost all of it and more. I think when you're looking down the barrel, you've got to keep a clear head and not get emotional. And I think the important thing for us was, we've got a business here, it's still viable. All we've got to do is make some changes so that it gets back to where it was. Did we think we were looking down the barrel? I don't think we ever saw it in those terms. I think we saw it in terms of, we've got a serious difficulty here. What are we going to do to resolve it? You know, if that means we have to fire half the staff and go back to square one, we'll do it. We don't want to, but we'll do it if we have to. Recruitment and redundancy in most businesses, I think, is an inevitability, unless you are very, very lucky with your business, because most business goes through ups and downs. And if you go through downs and all you've got to chop is the people, you haven't got much choice. In a services environment, 65% of your overhead is almost certainly going to be in payroll, and a pretty big proportion of the rest of it is dependent on payroll. So the only way you can cut costs is to take headcount out. The consultants that we had come in were largely coming in to tell us how to run our business, and the things they told us we should do were simply wrong, and we proved them to be so by not taking any notice of them and doing it our way. We had a big start with Martini. We did a big promotion for Martini the year we were looking right down the barrel, and we won the Martini business, and it saved us. Without any doubt, it was a promotion that saved us in spite of the Black Fridays we had trying to deliver it. Well, we didn't, and that was the problem. We should have put it up for sale if we were serious about selling it. But like many businesses, when the offer came, it came out of the blue. Somebody, I think, phoned us up and said, would you be interested in selling? And I mean, our game had always been to sell eventually, so it wasn't that it was off the agenda, but we hadn't talked seriously about it. We hadn't got a plan, we hadn't got an exit strategy, we had just got a vague idea of what we wanted to achieve. And so what I've discovered in my role as business advisor is that most businesses, when they sell, go about it in all the wrong ways. They sell because somebody comes and makes them an offer and they're flattered. And I guess we were no different. And would I do it differently? I certainly would. I would have gone straight out to the market and put it on the market and said, okay, somebody's offered us X, what do you think? Where should we go? Could we get a better offer? Could we get a better organisation to come and take us on if we're going to sell? And what do we want to do long term? Do we want to stay in the business? Do we want to walk away? If we want to stay in the business, what role do we want? We just didn't define any of that, and it was a huge mistake that many people make, and most people make because they only sell a business once. Hire good ones, even if they're the most expensive, because they will get a result for you. Do not use local lawyers. When we sold the business, our lawyers saved my partner and I a potential £500,000 over the next 10 years because of one clause they inserted into the sale document, which the buyer's solicitors A, failed to pick up, and B, failed to act upon in the time allowed, which they put a time limit on it. And as a result of that, they were left with our lease, which they didn't want, but which would have been a potential 13-year liability at £42,000 a year. Big problem with so many takeovers is that they don't have a proper post-acquisition strategy, or if they do, they think it's just an organisation chart. And the people who bought us had done all the due diligence when it came to the numbers, but none whatever when it came to the fit of the people and the style of the organisation. They thought we all did more or less the same thing in more or less the same way, so we'd obviously all get on. And the personalities didn't fit, not at all. They were never going to. And in fact, my partner recognised it. He said, the guy that's buying us is an arse, and we hate him. And I said, what are we going to do about it? He said, well, we're going to do it anyway because we don't have the money. And ultimately, that's why we did it. We took the money and ran. But it was a miserable time. Hated every minute of it. Had a fancy title and no job to speak of, no job description. Pointless. I wasn't achieving anything. Most miserable and useless year of my life.